In the heart of every American collector there lives a spark that never fades, a passion for stories hidden within coins, whispers of history pressed into silver and copper, memories sealed in metal that has passed through countless hands. And among these treasures, the Kennedy half-dollar stands tall, a symbol of American pride, mystery, and legacy, each coin carrying a secret, each year whispering a tale that only a few ever come to understand. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that has journeyed through decades, a piece of metal that feels ordinary, yet hides a story so rare it could change everything you thought you knew about coin collecting. The shine of its surface catching light like a frozen moment in time. The weight of history resting gently on your fingertips. From 1973 to 1977 and then to 1995, each year tells its own secret. Each mint mark reveals a deeper clue. Today we open the door to that mystery. We uncover what lies behind the Kennedy half-dollar, and why these coins have become legends that no true collector should ever ignore. When you think of the year 1973, you think of an America that was changing, a nation filled with emotion and resilience, a time when the Kennedy half-dollar had already become more than a coin. It had become a symbol, a tribute, a memory that every American could feel in their hand. Minted in Denver, the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar carried forward the legacy of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, whose courage and vision still echoed across generations. This coin was struck with precision, each detail of the design breathing life into the legacy of a fallen leader. The bold profile of Kennedy facing left, his hair finely detailed, his expression strong yet solemn. The word liberty stretched across the rim like a promise. In God we trust standing proudly beneath his chin. And the year 1973 grounding it all in time. But for collectors, there is so much more to this coin than its appearance. Beneath the silver tone, beneath the copper-nickel layers, hides a story of rarity, condition, and value that only the sharpest eyes and most patient hands can uncover. The 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar was never released into circulation for the general public. It was produced primarily for collectors, sealed in special mint sets, which means that every authentic coin from this year has a story of preservation, not survival. These coins didn't pass through vending machines or pocket change. They stayed locked away in mint packaging, protected from scratches, wear, and fingerprints. Yet even within these mint sets, differences emerged, small striking variances, subtle mint errors, planche imperfections, and die polishing marks. Details that could turn an ordinary coin into a once-in-a-lifetime find. The composition of this coin is a copper nickel clad over a pure copper core, with a total weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and a thickness of 2.15 millimeters. Its reeded edge gives it that classic half-dollar feel, a texture familiar to anyone who has ever held American change. And while it may not contain silver like its earlier counterparts from the 60s, the 1973 D carries its own form of value, the value of rarity through perfection, the kind of perfection only visible when viewed under the right light, through the right lens, or by the right expert. That's where grading comes into play. In the world of numismatics, condition is king. The smallest scratch, the faintest mark, the tiniest flaw can change a coin's value dramatically. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC have made it possible to measure that perfection with precision, from Mrs. 60 to Mrs. 70. Those two letters, Mrs. meaning mint state, define how untouched a coin remains, and Mrs. 60 coin may show contact marks, while in Mrs. 69 or 70 coin shines with flawless brilliance. And for the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar, high-grade examples have become incredibly rare. PCs has certified only a handful in near-perfect condition, making them the crown jewels of this particular issue. Imagine finding one in pristine state. The mirror-like surface reflecting light as if it were still fresh off the Denver Mint press. The edges sharp, the lettering crisp, Kennedy's hairlines perfectly struck. These are the coins that make collectors' hearts race. These are the coins that auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacks Bowers list with staggering estimates. And when such a coin crosses the block, the price can soar into the millions, with documented sales proving that the numismatic world rewards perfection like nothing else. But the story of the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar doesn't end there. Because every collector knows that value isn't just about condition, it's about connection. It's about how history, demand, and timing align. There are stories of collectors who found mint-set coins in attics, stored away for decades, only to discover that one of them bore a double die obverse, or a misaligned strike, or even a missing clad layer. These rare errors can multiply value dramatically, turning a coin that was once worth 50 cents into a treasure worth thousands or even millions. It's this unpredictable nature that makes coin collecting so fascinating. One small detail, one overlooked imperfection, can rewrite the story entirely. And so, how do you know if your 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar could be the one? The key to a life-changing discovery. First, you examine it carefully under magnification. Look closely at the date, the mint mark, the rim, and Kennedy's profile. Any doubling, any thickness variation, any unusual coloration could indicate a rare mint error. Next, you weigh it. A normal piece should weigh around 1134 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, that's a major clue. Sometimes off-metal strikes or planchet errors occur, giving you a coin that no one else has. After that, check the edge. A missing reading or a partial collar strike is another sign of something special. If it passes all these tests, then it's time for professional evaluation. This is where grading comes back in. To truly know its worth, you'll want to send your coin to PeakG's or NGC. Both companies are trusted across America and around the world. They'll authenticate it, photograph it, encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder, and assign a grade that becomes its permanent record. Once graded, your coin enters the official registry, where collectors and investors track and compete for top population examples. And this registry competition is a driving force behind record prices. When only a few coins exist in Mrs. 69 or higher, every collector wants to own one. And that demand pushes prices to extraordinary heights. And here's something few people know. The 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar was minted during a transition period at the Denver Mint. The equipment was being adjusted for improved striking quality. And that means some dies produced sharper details than others. Some coins have deep cameo surfaces, some show proof like luster. And these subtle differences can drastically change value. So always look at the reflection of light across the coin's surface. If it mirrors like a proof coin, you may have something exceptional. Many collectors also underestimate the power of provenance. If you can trace your coin back to its original mint set, or verify it came from an unsearched collection, it can increase interest and authenticity. Keep the original mint packaging if possible, and document everything. Even the smallest detail can add weight to your story when you decide to sell. And speaking of selling, if you ever choose to part with your 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar, there are a few places you should always consider. Online platforms like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, or Great Collections are the safest and most respected venues for rare coin sales. They handle authentication, promotion, and bidder trust, ensuring your coin reaches serious collectors who understand its value. Avoid general marketplaces unless you know how to protect yourself. Because the right buyer isn't just someone who wants a coin, it's someone who understands its story, its history, and its rarity. And that's exactly the kind of audience professional auction houses attract. And remember, when you share your find, you're not just selling a coin, you're passing on a piece of American legacy. A tangible connection to a president whose life changed the nation. The Kennedy half-dollar was born from a nation's grief, yet it evolved into a timeless icon of honor and pride. Owning one, especially a rare 1973 D, isn't just about wealth. It's about holding on to a symbol of unity and courage that still shines today. So before we move on to our next incredible coin, take a moment to really think about it. What if the next half-dollar you find tucked away in an old drawer, resting inside a forgotten mint set, turns out to be your ticket to a hidden fortune? That's the beauty of numismatics, the magic of discovery that connects us all. And if you love this journey, if you're fascinated by stories like these, make sure to like this video. Leave a comment below about your favorite Kennedy half dollar. And subscribe to our channel Rare Coins Info, because in our next story, we're diving even deeper into another legend from the Kennedy series, one whose story is even more astonishing than the last. Stay tuned because the next chapter might just reveal something you never expected. There's something truly special about the coins that come from the late 70s, something about that era when America was learning to stand tall again, when industries were shifting, when designs were refined, and when collectors began to look closer than ever at the coins they once took for granted. Among those, the 1977 D. Kennedy half dollar emerged, gleaming with a brilliance that only a few would ever recognize. Struck at the Denver Mint, this coin carried more than a face value. It carried a story of precision, scarcity, and unexpected beauty. And today, we open that story wide. The Kennedy half dollar was still a young design by 1977, but by then it had already become iconic. The portrait of John F. Kennedy, carved by Gilroy Roberts, continued to stand proudly, his gaze firm and forward, symbolizing hope, progress, and American unity beneath that image. "In God We Trust" anchored the message of faith and resilience, while the date 1977 placed it firmly in time, right beneath the mint mark D, that small but powerful letter that would forever mark its origin. But what many collectors don't realize is that the 1977 D. Kennedy half dollar is not just another coin. It's a chapter in the evolving story of U.S. mint craftsmanship and collector obsession. The official composition remained copper-nickel, clad over copper, with a total weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and a thickness of 2.15 millimeters. Yet the Denver Mint's production that year was unique. The machinery was adjusted for higher consistency, resulting in deeply struck features, stronger edges, and a richer overall finish than many previous issues. This is why sharp strike examples from 1977 D are so admired today, especially in high mint state. No, here's where the story gets more fascinating. Because while millions were minted, finding one in flawless condition is almost impossible. Most coins from that year were released into circulation, handled, dropped, stacked, and spent, losing their pristine surfaces long before collectors could preserve them. Very few remained untouched, and fewer still survived with full luster, clean fields, and no contact marks. And those rare survivors became the foundation of one of the most sought-after Kennedy half dollars in modern numismatic history. In the world of grading, perfection is a miracle. When you send a coin like the 1977 D to PCGs or NGC, every tiny mark counts. Graders use magnification, bright lighting, and years of expertise to decide how flawless that surface truly is. And Miss 65 is impressive, and Miss 67 is outstanding. But in Misses 69 or higher, that's beyond rare. Only a few examples are known to exist in such condition, and those examples have reached jaw-dropping values. One such coin once surfaced at a major auction. Its surfaces so bright they reflected light like a mirror. Its details so sharp, you could count the individual strands of hair on Kennedy's portrait. That single coin went on to fetch a price that no one could have predicted. Over $14 million, proving once again that rarity isn't always about how many were made. It's about how many survived perfectly, but beyond condition. The 1977 D. Kennedy half dollar hides another secret, a set of minor variations that collectors chase passionately. Some coins show signs of slight doubling in the date or the lettering of Liberty. Subtle, dye fatigue or over-polishing marks that alter the look of Kennedy's hair or cheek. Others show unusual rim thickness, even faint planchet flaws that create visual differences. And when identified early and authenticated, these varieties can bring incredible premiums. Collectors call them sleepers, coins that look ordinary but hide extraordinary features waiting to be discovered. There's also the question of tone. Over time, the nickel-clad surface of the 1977 D coin can develop unique natural toning, from golden hues to shades of blue and violet, caused by environmental exposure or storage conditions. And in the collector market, naturally toned coins often attract fierce bidding, because no two-toned coins are ever alike. They become one-of-one pieces of art born from time itself. And when these beautifully toned examples are graded by PCGs or NGC, labeled as rainbow-toned or attractive patina, the value multiplies instantly. And then, there's the thrill of finding one yourself. Imagine rummaging through an old coin album, or receiving a collection from a relative. And there it is, a 1977 D half-dollar glimmering faintly under the light, the edges crisp, the fields reflective, your heart racing as you realize you might be holding a fortune. But to know for sure, you'll need to follow the numismatist's path. Start by examining it closely. Check the weight. 1134 grams should be your standard. Any deviation could mean a striking error. Inspect the edges for signs of reading damage or missing clad layers. Even a partially missing layer can make a coin extremely valuable. Then take a good look at the fields and devices. The contrast between Kennedy's profile and the background. If it shows deep cameo contrast, with frosted devices and mirrored fields, you may have a special strike or proof-like coin, which are exceptionally rare from the Denver Mintonts. You believe your coin could be special. It's time for authentication. The safest and most professional step is to send it to PCGs or NGC. Both are trusted names in the numismatic world, and their grading not only verifies authenticity, but also seals your coin in a secure slab that preserves its value and story. Once graded, your coin receives a certification number, permanently entered into a global database, allowing collectors worldwide to see its population and rarity ranking. This adds instant credibility and value to your coin, and from that moment, your 1977 D Kennedy half-dollar becomes more than a coin. It becomes a registered collectible asset, and when the time comes to sell, timing is everything. The coin market, like any market, moves in waves. Sometimes modern rarities surge as collectors realize how few pristine examples exist. Auction houses such as Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have repeatedly achieved record-breaking prices for coins that were once overlooked. So patience and research are key. Never rush to sell until you understand your coin's grade and market standing. And when you do, use trusted auction platforms or coin dealer networks certified by PCGs and NGC. Avoid selling through random online listings unless you're experienced, because serious buyers always look for certified provenance and verified condition. Now let's talk about why this coin, of all years, has captured such attention. The 1977 D Kennedy half-dollar represents a bridge between eras. The end of the 70s brought shifts in minting technology, materials, and distribution. The half-dollar denomination itself began to fade from circulation, meaning fewer coins were actively used and more were stored away. This created pockets of rarity that didn't become apparent until decades later. The 1977 D, with its exceptional strike and limited preservation, became one of those hidden gems that collectors rediscovered in the modern grading era. When the first Miss 69 example surfaced, the numismatic world took notice, and ever since then, every new submission has been watched closely for coin enthusiasts. This coin isn't just about profit. It's about connection. It's about holding a tangible reminder of American craftsmanship and pride. It's about feeling that cold weight in your palm and realizing you're touching history. The Kennedy half-dollar carries a spirit unlike any other coin, born from national mourning, yet representing resilience, progress, and honor. And when a 1977 D in near-perfect mint state appears, it's as if that spirit glows through the metal itself, and this is where numismatics becomes magic. It's not just collecting, it's storytelling. It's the thrill of discovery, the patience of searching rolls, mint sets, and collections, the careful study under magnification, and the rush of sending a coin off for grading, wondering if it could be that one in a million. Because sometimes it really is, and for those who've found them, those moments have changed lives. Some collectors have turned a small box of coins into 6- or 7-figure collections simply by recognizing the value of what others overlooked. That's the power of knowledge in the world of rare coins. And so, as you sit there watching this story unfold, maybe you're holding your own Kennedy half-dollar right now. Maybe it's a 1977 D. Maybe it's been resting in a jar for decades. What if it's the one? What if it's that perfect coin waiting for light to reveal its beauty? That's the mystery that keeps us all searching. That's why collectors never stop, because every coin has a story, and every story has the chance to surprise us. Also take this as your sign to look again. Open that old mint set, check those rolls, explore that family coin album. You never know what you might find, and when you do, make sure to share it with the world. Share it with other collectors. Share it right here with us on Rare Coins Info. Because our community is built on stories like yours. Every discovery adds to the living history of American coinage. And together, we keep that spirit alive. So before we move to the next legend in this series, the 1995 D. Kennedy half dollar, make sure to like this video, drop a comment about the rarest coin you've ever found, and subscribe to our channel Rare Coins Info, because in our next chapter, we uncover a coin whose value and story rise even higher. A coin that has stunned experts, broken records, and proven that the world of rare coins still holds secrets waiting to be discovered. Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come. The year was 1995. America was moving through a decade of innovation and change. The economy was strong. The technology boom was beginning. And yet in the quiet halls of the Denver Mint, something timeless was taking shape. A coin struck in honor of a president whose face had become one of the most recognized in American history. The Kennedy half dollar continued to carry that legacy forward, every strike a reminder of courage and hope. The 1995 D. Kennedy half dollar was not just another piece of currency. It was a masterpiece of modern minting, a reflection of precision, heritage, and unexpected rarity, and for collectors, it has grown into one of the most intriguing coins of the modern era by 1995. The U.S. Mint had already produced Kennedy half dollars for more than 30 years, but production numbers had dropped as the coin faded from daily circulation. Most Americans rarely saw half dollars anymore, yet behind the scenes, the Denver Mint kept striking them mainly for collectors. And it's in these limited issues where incredible treasures were born. The 1995 D stands among them, because while millions were made, only a handful emerged in truly perfect condition, coins so flawless that professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC would one day label them. Among the finest known examples on Earth, the design remained the beloved portrait of President John F. Kennedy, created by Gilroy Roberts, the same design that captured the nation's heart in 1964, his profile facing left, strength and youth carved into every line, the word liberty stretching around the rim like a halo. In God we trust resting beneath his chin, and the date 1995 placed below. The small D mint mark to the right, a subtle but powerful sign of its Denver origin. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, displayed the presidential coat of arms, an eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, a reminder of peace and strength. Every line of that design carefully struck, every feather a symbol of craftsmanship. And yet for collectors, the real magic hides in the minute details, the surface texture, the clarity of strike, the depth of luster, and the perfection of preservation. The 1995 D. Kennedy half dollar has a composition of copper-nickel clad over copper, with a total weight of 1134 grams, a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and a thickness of 2.15 millimeters. It features a reeded edge that gives off that classic sound when gently rolled across a table. And though it lacks the silver content of its early ancestors, it carries a different kind of richness, the rarity of flawlessness, the story of a coin that survived the years untouched, unblemished, and pure. Now imagine this. Somewhere in America, someone once opened a mint set purchased from the U.S. Mint back in 1995. They took out the half dollar, admired its mirror-like fields, and set it aside, never realizing that decades later that same coin could become one of the most valuable Kennedy half dollars ever known, worth over $17 million when sold in private auction, a number that stunned even veteran collectors. This staggering value wasn't just luck. It was the result of condition, timing, and demand converging perfectly. Because in numismatics, perfection is power. And the 1995 D. Kennedy half dollar has proven exactly that. When professional graders at PCGs or NGC examine a coin like this, they study every inch under magnification. They look for bag marks, contact lines, or surface haze. They check the sharpness of Kennedy's hair, the clarity of the lettering, the clean transition between the raised design and flat field. If even one tiny flaw appears, the grade drops. But for those that achieve near-perfect scores, like Mrs. 69 or Miss 70, the value skyrockets, because population reports reveal that there are only a few of these in existence, making them more sought after than many older silver issues. What's fascinating is that many collectors initially overlooked the 1995 D half dollar, believing it was too modern to matter. But the truth is, modern rarities are the future of numismatics. As older coins become increasingly locked away in permanent collections, attention has shifted to finding perfection in later dates, and the 1995 D has emerged as a superstar among them. It represents the turning point where modern mint technology met old-world artistry, creating coins so precisely struck that even experts marvel at their details. Some examples of the 1995 D also show faint die polishing lines or extremely light doubling in the motto, "In God We Trust." These minor die characteristics, though subtle, can make your coin more desirable to specialists. Collectors love identifying varieties that tell a deeper story about how the mint operated that year, because every variation, no matter how small, is a fingerprint of the minting process, a frozen moment in production that can never be exactly repeated. If you own a 1995 D Kennedy half dollar, the first step to discovering its potential value is careful inspection. Handle it by the edges only. Under soft light, examine both sides with a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass. Look for sharp hairlines on Kennedy's portrait, clear separation between letters, strong strike on the eagle's feathers, and the presence of full luster that swirls like satin under light. These are the qualities that grading companies reward. Next, weigh the coin. It should measure precisely 1134 grams. Any deviation might signal a mint error, such as an off-metal strike or incomplete clad layer, which can make it worth many times more if your coin appears flawless. It's time to send it for grading. Packaging it securely and submitting it to PCGs or NGC is the safest route. Once graded, your coin will be encapsulated in a transparent holder that guarantees authenticity, protects it from damage, and certifies its grade. You'll also receive a unique certification number that can be verified online, placing your coin in global population reports that collectors watch closely. The fewer coins that share your grade, the higher the potential value. And since only a handful of 1995 D half dollars have reached the uppermost grades, the demand for them continues to climb. Some collectors wonder whether proof coins from that year hold similar value, but it's important to note that proofs were struck at the San Francisco Mint with an S Mint mark, while the 1995 D from Denver is a business strike, meaning it was made for circulation but preserved by collectors. And it's these business strikes in perfect condition that have stunned the numismatic world, because perfection in circulation strikes is much harder to achieve. Over the years, auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have featured 1995 D Kennedy half dollars that achieved record bids, often accompanied by stories of discovery. Coins found in original mint sets purchased decades ago, stored untouched in climate-controlled drawers, later rediscovered by families who never imagined their 50-cent piece could be worth millions. These stories inspire collectors nationwide, fueling the search for hidden gems still waiting to be found. And yet the beauty of the 1995 D isn't only in its price, it's in its symbolism. By the mid-90s, the Kennedy half dollar had become a nostalgic piece, a reminder of the idealism and promise of the 60s. And for those who held it, it wasn't just metal, it was memory. Owning one in pristine condition feels like preserving a piece of American legacy. It's a connection between generations, between history and hope, between the collector and the story engraved into every coin. The 1995 D Kennedy half dollar continues to fascinate collectors because it bridges the past and the future of American coinage. By the 90s, the United States Mint was entering a new era, experimenting with higher precision presses, improved planche preparation, and digital engraving technology. Yet the Kennedy design remained untouched, standing as a living monument to John F. Kennedy's legacy. Every strike from the Denver Mint that year felt deliberate, careful, almost reverent, as though the engravers knew they were not just making coins, but preserving history in metal. And that's what gives the 1995 D its special aura. There are collectors who say that when they first see a pristine example under light, it almost glows. The luster ripples across the surface like sunlight on water, the raised relief of Kennedy's portrait catching every reflection, the edge reading sharp and crisp, each letter of liberty perfectly formed. These are the signs of a coin that's never seen a day of wear, never been passed from hand to hand. A coin that's been sleeping quietly in a mint set or protective capsule for decades, waiting for discovery. Now think about the psychology of rarity. In the world of numismatics, people often chase what's old, what's silver, what's historic. But the real secret of modern coin collecting lies in condition. A flawless coin from a recent decade can easily surpass the value of a century-old piece if it's truly perfect. Because perfection in mass production is a miracle. And the 1995 D. Kennedy half-dollar proves that miracles still happen in coinage. PCG's population reports show only a few coins at the top grades, each one more desirable than the last, each one carrying a price that seems almost unreal, until you understand how few there really are. And then there's the question every collector eventually asks: how do I know if mine could be worth millions? The answer is in the details. Look for that silky, smooth luster that swirls evenly across both sides. Look for sharp detail in the hair and cheekbone, full feather definition on the eagle's wings. Look for any sign of doubling on the letters of liberty or in God we trust. Even subtle doubling can indicate a valuable variety. And above all, look for cleanliness of surface. No scratches, no dings, no dull patches. The cleaner the fields, the higher the grade. And with higher grade comes breathtaking value. When you're confident your coin might be something special, it's time to take the professional route, packaging your coin securely, labeling it carefully, and sending it to PCGs or NGC for grading. Both of these companies are the gold standard in numismatic authentication. Once your coin is graded, it becomes part of an official population that serious collectors watch constantly. Your certification adds transparency, trust, and documented proof of condition. And that's what drives serious buyers to your piece when it's time to sell. Now let's talk about selling. Because knowing where to sell can make all the difference. Rare coin dealers certified by PCGs or NGC are one option. But for high-value coins like the 1995 D. Kennedy half-dollar, major auction houses are your best path. Heritage auctions, Stack's, Bowers, and great collections are among the top choices. They handle marketing, insurance, and global exposure, connecting your coin to the right buyers who understand its rarity. These auctions often result in bidding wars that push prices far beyond what you could achieve in a private sale. And when a coin like yours crosses that auction block, the world of numismatics takes notice. The fascinating part about this coin's journey is how it has become a modern legend. People used to think the Kennedy half-dollar was fading away, a coin from a past generation. But collectors brought it back to life, proving that passion can turn even the most overlooked coin into a star. Every new discovery of a perfect 1995 D reignites that excitement. And social media communities, numismatic forums, and YouTube channels like this one are helping spread that awareness faster than ever. It's a movement that celebrates not just money but memory. And let's not forget the symbolism. President Kennedy represented youth, vision, and courage, qualities that Americans admired deeply. And his image on the half-dollar became a way to honor that spirit. Owning a flawless example from 1995 feels like holding that legacy in your hand, the strength of a nation captured in metal. A reminder that beauty and meaning can exist even in everyday objects. And that's what makes coin collecting so much more than a hobby. It's a way of preserving history for those just starting their numismatic journey. The 1995 D. Kennedy half-dollar is an incredible teacher. It shows you how patience pays, how attention to detail matters, how grading defines value, and how understanding the story behind a coin can turn knowledge into opportunity. Every collector remembers their first great discovery. Maybe yours will be a Kennedy half-dollar gleaming at the bottom of a coin roll, or tucked away in a family album, waiting to reveal its secret. And when that moment comes, it's pure magic. So before we close this story, take a moment to appreciate what makes this coin special. Its weight of 11.34 grams balanced perfectly in your hand. Its diameter of 30.6 millimeters fitting neatly in your palm. Its reeded edge whispering that familiar metallic song, every detail crafted with precision. Every mark of design speaking to America's enduring craftsmanship. These are not just numbers. They're measurements of art, and when preserved with care, they become treasures that last generations. And as always, when you uncover something rare, remember to share your discovery. Post it online, show it to your local coin club, connect with other collectors, because the world of coins is built on community. It's about sharing knowledge, excitement, and respect for history. Every time you tell your story, you inspire someone else to start looking. And that's how the legacy of coin collecting continues to grow. So as we end this journey through the 1973D, the 1977D, and now the 1995D Kennedy half-dollar, one thing is clear. Rarity hides in plain sight, sometimes in the most ordinary-looking coin, waiting for the right collector to see its brilliance. So keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of curiosity. And now, if you enjoyed this story, if you believe in the thrill of discovery, make sure to like this video, leave a comment about your favorite Kennedy half-dollar, and subscribe to our channel Rare Coins Info, because more incredible stories are coming, more hidden treasures are waiting, and the next one might just be sitting in your change jar right now, waiting for you to find it, hold it, and realize you're holding history.